An attendant standing outside the train is checking the passengers one by one. But in this situation, he does not realize that a girl has got on the train very fast. And she is running towards the door in a strange way. Before anyone gets a few steps outside, he signals to close the door. And as soon as the door closes, a beautiful scene is caught in front of the girl's eyes. She is running towards the stairs and looking at the waiting area. It seems that there is a fight there. The train starts moving slowly in this direction. A little girl was watching everything from outside the window. At that moment, she sees that someone has thrown the train attendant down. The girl gets scared seeing the scene. She wants to tell her father immediately. But her father is busy in the kitchen. After a few moments, she sees again. A passenger comes and tells the attendant that a strange sound is coming from inside the toilet. The little girl is also not behind them, seeing the confusion and fear. As soon as the door opens, the attendant sees a beggar sitting in a cup. Looking at him, it seems that he has become the face of some scary thing. The attendant goes to check his ticket. But the man is so terrified that he can't even speak properly. He acts like a madman. At the same time, in another compartment of the train, the infected girl was holding her stockings tightly around her waist. Her body was making her nervous before. She is very quickly losing control over herself. And that's true. A few minutes later, the girl enters the compartment while shaking. Now she feels even more uncomfortable, as her body is not hers. Even if she opens the door with all her strength, she can't control herself anymore. Suddenly, she throws her head on the floor. And then she falls hard on the floor. However, no one in the train can understand that very soon this train is going to be converted into a death train. This way, the swan wants to go to the toilet. But a fat man stops her at the door. He says that his pregnant wife is inside. So the swan goes to the next compartment and uses the toilet. Right then, a female train attendant was present for routine checking. And right then, the girl lying on the floor in front of him. Her condition was so bad that she went to see her manager. On the other side, the swan's father suddenly woke up from his sleep. The phone in his pocket was ringing. He sees that the girl is not next to him. But he receives the phone before the call from the company. In that quiet environment, he suddenly hears the sound of a very loud footstep through the corridor. Hearing the sound, he feels that something important has happened. And from that moment on, he starts to work unconsciously inside him. So he gets up quickly and starts looking for his daughter. The people sitting in the backyard were looking towards the TV in fear, where the important news was being shown. And on seeing the girl lying on the floor on this side, the attendant also gets very scared. He tries to wake her up in the intercom. But the signal is cut off suddenly. While he is waiting for the male attendant to come, the girl gets infected and turns into a terrible zombie. Hearing Shahaj scream, the male attendant comes running. But it was too late then. The intercom was broken with the female attendant. And the zombie lies on his back in the playground. He tries to save himself by dying. And he wants help from the people. But before anyone could understand anything, the female attendant suddenly becomes unconscious and falls to the ground. And from that moment on, the zombie girl falls on another person. Everything was happening so fast that no one could react properly. So, before coming to save his friend, his girlfriend gets scared seeing the sign of the infection on the ground. Suddenly, a loud noise starts in the backyard. As soon as the manager reaches there, the terrorists cover him up and throw him away. Within a few minutes, the entire backyard is filled with zombies. When the zombie attendant is shown to work one by one, the manager becomes completely stunned. Realizing that the situation is getting out of hand, he runs away from there. And others also start pointing at him. His father, who was looking for Swan, sees a person running away. But he couldn't understand anything then. He also goes towards the backyard. There was a place for the people who were roaming around. And just then, a zombie sits in his house. A female passenger gets scared seeing this scene. She can't even dare to fight. And that steadiness makes her feel scared. At that moment, another zombie is found. At that moment, the COK doesn't know what actually happened on the train. He starts running towards the backyard with Swan. But the little girl is scared and shivers. Because the zombie is almost behind them. The COK also realizes that the situation is getting out of hand. The passenger who was running fast, also got infected with the virus. But before he could attack, the COK leaves him behind. Now, almost all the people in the backyard have gone to the zombies. The toilet was next to the toilet. Seeing people running in fear, the COK threw his wife out. At that moment, the zombies came in front of him. And the COK got stuck in the middle of them. The COK couldn't understand what was happening. To understand what was happening, he grabbed a zombie and threw him away. But in the next second, the zombie attacked him from behind. The COK left with his daughter. The COK used his power to throw some zombies into a small house and shut the door. Then he saw a man lying on the floor mutating. He told his wife to stay here. He had to run away now. But just then, a bigger zombie group was seen coming from behind. So, the COK left the house in less than a second. At that moment, the COK and his wife reached a deserted land. Everyone was watching emergency news on TV. But when they suddenly saw the people running in terror, not everyone could understand that the same terrible incident had now started inside their train. On the other hand, the zombies were chasing Dong and his pregnant wife. Just then, an old man shouted, saying, "Close the main door." People hurriedly went to close the door. But the half-closed door got stuck somewhere. Then the COK noticed that the top switch was jammed. He opened it and threw it away. But he didn't close the door immediately. Because he wanted Dong and his wife to get inside first. But the old man kept giving it to the others. Then, the people around him started going against the COK. So, they closed the door. And Dong and his wife got stuck in the middle of the zombies. The old man kept telling them to open the door. But the COK couldn't do anything. Dong kept fighting the zombies to save his pregnant wife. He was still hoping that the people inside would finally open the door. But no one came to do that. The COK opened the door without any other option. The COK then thought of an important thing. The zombies themselves didn't know, so he told Dong to keep the door open. Dong's wife immediately took out the water from the tap and soaked a newspaper and stuck it in the door. As a result, the zombies' vision became blurred and the COK. The COK then decided to keep the zombies quiet so that they wouldn't be able to see or target anything. The old man, who was trying to take Dong inside, came out of the room and started screaming. But the COK knew that he wanted to blame the COK for everything. The COK then realized that he had no other choice. The COK then realized that he had no other choice. That he had no other choice. The COK then realized that he had no other choice. The COK then realized that he had no other choice. The COK then realized that he had no other choice. The COK then realized the COK then realized that he had no other choice. That could have been the end. The COK confused at the fact that he lost Dong when in fact the COK became insecure about the C.O.K's integrity and security. The COK found in the midst of all this, the train suddenly broke the emergency brake. Actually, they were crossing the next station. And outside, countless people were covering the windows. From a distance, it was clear that the situation outside was even more dangerous. A lot of zombies were scattered all around. Seeing this scene, Se-yeog quickly took Swan in his arms. As soon as the train crossed the station, terror spread all around. And at the same time, the Korean government held a press conference and announced a pandemic in the whole country. Everyone was told not to leave the house. Inside the train, everyone was lost. No one could understand anything. At that time, the conductor announced another news. The train would now stop at Daejeon station, where the officers had been arrested earlier. Hearing this, a little hope returned among the passengers. Here, Dong added a story to Swan. Asking for fun, he asked, "What does your father do?" Swan said in a simple voice, "He is a fund manager." Then Dong said in a slightly distorted voice, "It means that he takes the rights of the people." The little girl understood the story. So that she doesn't suffer, Dong's wife gave her a candy. And let her feel the child's struggle in her stomach. At this small moment, they have a separate relationship with Swan. On the other hand, Se-yog calls a VIP client of his. An officer in a special position. That officer gives Se-yog a secret message instead of taking free share market tips. He knows that after arriving at Daejeon station, ordinary passengers will be quarantined. So Se-yog does not exit through the main gate. He exits through the east gate. There will be his people there, and they will escort Se-yog and Swan. Se-yog didn't have that plan in mind. But before leaving there, his eyes are on the beggar, who is still sitting in a corner and shivering in fear. At first, Se-yog thinks that the person may not have heard anything. But when he sees his face, he understands that he has heard everything. And now he is afraid not to hear. A few moments later, the train stops at Daejeon station. The problem is that there is a lot of silence around the station. Passengers are very careful. After a while, the conductor goes behind him and sees a terrible scene. And then the old man on the train knows that the whole city has been sealed. Now there is only Busan. Even in this situation, the old man on the train was only worried about his own safety. He tells the conductor not to take the whole train to Jamila, but only to take him to Busan by separating the engines. But the conductor doesn't listen to him at all. The old man goes to inform the other passengers. On this side, everyone was going towards the exit gate through the station. But when they went there, they were surprised to see that there was no signal anywhere. The whole hall is still unstable. Everyone can understand that something is not right. But no one can figure out what is right or wrong. The conductor was looking for the officer on this side, who had instructed him to get out of the way. There was a clear sign of restriction near the railing. Then he takes his own daughter and goes inside. Seeing this scene, Dong and Karstri are left alone. Then the old man asks simply, "Why are we not going with them?" At the same time, the beggar also comes there. And after saying that, he heard everything on the conductor's phone. He knows that he has to separate the other passengers. Hearing this, Swan wants to give way to others. But the conductor stops him. He tells the girl that now is not the time to think about anyone. In such a situation, one has to think about one's own life before everyone else. Hearing this, Swan breaks down. He gets hurt and tells the old man, "You only think about yourself." From this side, from the name of the train, Dong felt that something was not right. There was such a big commotion outside. However, the soldiers did not say anything. He could see the pregnant woman under the escalator bay. All the soldiers were standing below. At first, it seemed that they were keeping the situation under control. But within a few seconds, they started to retreat slowly. And then the truth came to light. The soldiers who were used to contain the virus, were also infected and turned into zombies. At that moment, the whole place turns into hell. Dong and his wife do not delay even a second more. They run away from the escalator. Those who could not run for as long as time, they are accepted there. And these army zombies are much more dangerous than ordinary zombies. Because their speed, strength, and intensity of attack are all more dangerous. Right then, a group of zombies reaches Swan. They get scared and stand still. They can't even walk. When the zombies are coming towards them, then Seok wakes up and there is no time left. But at the last moment, Dong escapes and saves him. Swan is saved for Alp. Then the zombies come towards Seok. Dong and his wife then take Swan and hide in front of them. The corridor is filled with zombies. And everyone is running towards the platform to save their lives. Baseball players were shouting and telling everyone to run fast. But Seok falls a little behind in this run. And at that moment, a zombie throws him to the ground. He dies. And a bag in his hand pushes the zombie inside his mouth. And he doesn't let go of it. On this side, Dong pushes a stick and closes the door. So that the zombies can't get inside anymore. But he doesn't run away by closing the door. Dong and his wife still help the people who have escaped from the hall. Right then, that beggar again stands next to Siak and helps him to fly. In fear, Siak almost fainted. Hearing Dong's scream, he regains consciousness. And he starts running again. But a bigger group of zombies comes from behind. Siak tries to reach them somehow. But everyone closes the main door. But it becomes very difficult to cover the zombies. Because their numbers were increasing. Those who had reached the train again, they quickly open the door and go inside. But seeing the zombies inside, a new terror begins. The conductor runs towards the shoe cabinet. And the others chase the people behind. But the old man was still looking for Siak. Sometimes he closes the door to keep himself safe. The conductor quickly enters the cabinet and opens the window. And waits for the people who are stuck outside. But right then, the glass above breaks. And a group of zombies starts falling down. One of them falls directly on a brick. The brick falls on the ground. When he tries to get up, he sees that the zombie's neck is broken. And he is still trying to attack. The scene was so scary that his hands were tied. Right then, two good people pull him inside the train. A large gap is created on the platform. So that everyone cannot get up at the same level. So people are forced to get up separately. Dong's pregnant wife also tried to get inside. She was helping a woman and a woman. She gets scared when she closes the door. Because suddenly a shadow appears in front of her. At first, she thought it was a zombie. But later on, she realized that it was a beggar. He came here in fear. Most of the people are unable to get on the train. Right then, the old man pulls the conductor's shirt again. He says, "Don't wait any longer. You have to get on the train now." The conductor is uncomfortable. He wants permission to get off the train. But even then, some people were standing in front of the hall. And to tell the truth, those few people were the real brave men of the train. Because if they had not blocked the way for the zombies, then maybe no one else would have been able to get on the train. They were trying to keep the door closed for a long time. But very soon, they realized that this work would not last long. So without wasting any more time, they left for the train. The train was slowly moving. Some athletes tried to hold it for a long time. But as soon as they got on the train, a zombie attacked one of them. Now there was a zombie behind them and a train passing in front of them. In this situation, the two of them somehow managed to get on the train. The conductor raised his hand for help. At first, he went back a little, realizing the problem. And he took something like a shield in front of him. But at the last moment, he also picked up the train. After this fight, the relationship between the two of them also changed. Because now they are only companions. Then the conductor talks to the railway control center. But without finding a place to stop, the train has to be driven straight towards Busan. At this time, everyone is scattered in separate cages. Dong's wife was about to make a phone call. But the beggar stopped her. Because she had seen before that Dan and Ba, the two-legged cages, were filled with zombies. The four of them are stuck by the train doors. But one thing kept them alive. They didn't say a word. And the zombies haven't seen them yet. So they didn't notice the danger. Now to hide, they only had two small toilets on both sides. So they were very careful to go that way. At the same time, the woman suggests the beggar to come inside quickly. But at that moment, a zombie's eye falls on them. And then the door breaks. Within a few seconds, one by one, a zombie comes towards them. The three people stuck in the toilet die at the same time. On this side, a call comes from a baseball player's lover. And she finds out that her boyfriend is still alive. On the other side, Dong calls his wife. His wife says that she is stuck in the 13th cage with Swan. And they need help. Then the boy knows that there are other homeless people in the 1 to 5th cage. And they are still in the 9th cage. That is, some of the middle cages are full of zombies. But these three do not seem to be able to reach their hostages. Just then, the train enters a tunnel. And at that dark moment, Dong makes a plan. He says that as soon as the tunnel is over, they will enter the tunnel. Then he presents himself to the zombies coming in front of him. Dong was covering the zombies from the front. And the other two were covering him from the zombies behind him. Then they were in the 10th cage. Their plan was to reach the 13th cage first. Because that's where Dong's wife, Swan, and the others are stuck. So the three of them run together behind the zombies and cross the 10th cage. But as soon as the 11th cage enters, the tunnel closes. Because in front of him were the teammates who would become zombies. Seeing the scene, he became very scared. He was so scared that he could not raise his hand on his old friends. There was no time for this. So Dong starts attacking himself without waiting any longer. He throws everyone on the ground one by one. But the problem was that these friends were already physically very strong. And after becoming zombies, their strength has become even more terrible. Dong and Seok start grabbing both of them. Even though they were trying to harm their teammates, they could not raise their hands. They were just staring at each other. Right then, the train enters a tunnel. And all of a sudden, they think of something strange. The zombies suddenly stop attacking them. And they start looking for a target. The three of them stand still for a few seconds. Right then, a ball falls from above. And all of a sudden, all the zombies' heads turn towards it. Seok quickly grabs a bat and puts it on top of the metal rack. And all of a sudden, all the zombies start running towards it. The three of them cross the tunnel. But the problem comes again. Because as soon as the train leaves the tunnel, the train comes back. And the zombies see them again and stand in front of them. Now they start thinking of something strange. And then they come to a conclusion. These zombies' sight and hearing ability is much better than ordinary people. But when they go into the dark, their sight is almost completely lost. On the other hand, the hearing ability becomes even worse. Understanding this, Seok comes up with an idea. Before entering the 12th tunnel, he takes a phone from the door and quickly saves his number there. Then the train enters the tunnel again. And the three of them silently cut past the zombies and go towards the back seat. Seok keeps the phone on the back and calls from his own phone. The ringtone rings out together. And all the zombies run towards everyone like crazy. With this clever trick, the three of them finally cross the 12th tunnel and reach in front of the 13th tunnel. On this side, Dong's wife, that old woman, Swan, and the beggar were hiding inside the bathroom. Seeing Dong suddenly in front, his wife becomes so emotional that tears come to her eyes. And Swan was only looking for one face at that time. His father. After a while, seeing Seok, he also regains a little life. But the problem did not end then. The zombies were only 3 meters away from them. And just then, the train leaves the tunnel and comes to Alloy. Before the zombies see them, the three of them quickly enter the toilet. Entering the toilet, they see on the phone that there are still 2 minutes left to reach the next tunnel. These 2 minutes seemed like 2 hours to them. Everyone was waiting for Dong. Then Dong said softly, "Will we be able to do it?" Seok answers calmly, "Yes, we will definitely be able to do it." At this small moment, Dong's view completely changes. All these days, he thought that Seok was just a financial man, who sucks people's blood. But now he thinks, no, these people do not suck blood, they do not suck everything from people. He thought about it jokingly, but even in the midst of the joke, he understood that Seok is not a bad person. He knows how to take advantage of the situation. At this very moment, Taejun's message arrives on Jinhee's phone. It was written there that Taejun will come to tunnel number 15 and meet him. As soon as he receives the message, he tells everyone that his friends will reach tunnel number 15 very soon. Hearing this, the old man sitting next to him gets scared again. He has a doubt in his mind. In that way, even if someone comes back in the middle of such a zombie, then how will they come back without getting infected? Then he starts talking in such a way that all the people standing nearby gradually believe that the people who are returning may be infected with the zombie virus. But the people who are standing in the middle of the road, never thought that the people who have kept their own lives for so long and are walking on the road for everyone, how can they come back and get infected for everyone? But fear makes a person blind. So even if Jinhee asks the conductor to lower his voice, he can't do anything. Once again, the train enters the tunnel. Dong was going in front of him, but the corridor was full of zombies. At that time, Seok looks at the luggage rack above his head and a new idea comes to his mind from there. Within a few seconds, everyone quietly gets up and starts running around the rack. There is a zombie queue one after the other below. But because of the darkness, they can't see anything. After that, a little noise and everything is over. After a while, Seok stops in front of him. Then he takes a bag and throws it to the back. The bag starts to fall and the queue of zombies goes around it together. At this moment, Seok takes Swan and quickly goes in front of him. But in a hurry, he forgets about the beggar on the top. When Swan suddenly sees the beggar's leg rising, he suddenly falls down. Seeing him falling down, Swan wants to help him together. But listening to that, the queue of zombies comes this way again. The situation gets so bad that Seok gets stuck and sends his own daughter in front of him. And he goes back to pull the beggar. At that moment, the train comes out of the tunnel and comes to Alo. The zombies keep looking at the two people together and come towards them like crazy. Seok and the beggar are so scared that if they stay close, they will definitely die. The beggar is ready to take the bag and run away. On the other side, Dong takes his hand from the front and tells them to come quickly. Seok then tells the beggar, "I will count till 3. Then he will run." As soon as the conversation ends, the zombies come closer. The two people run slowly and as soon as they get inside, Dong closes the door with a lid. Some zombies get stuck in the door. Dong uses all his strength to keep the half-open door closed so that they can't get inside anymore. On the other side, Seok tries to open the door of the other side with him. But it doesn't work. Seok leaves and starts closing the door. At the same time, Taejun calls and tries to communicate with his friends. He doesn't know then that the people in front of him have closed the door on purpose. Not only that, they have also trapped the zombie so that he can't let anyone in. Suddenly, the zombie's phone rings. And hearing that word, Kim manager breaks the phone with a stick so that he can't help the people outside. Seeing that the door is not opening, Seok leaves again and starts helping Dong. On the other side, Taejun tries to break the glass door. But the door was so strong that it didn't break. Dong is still holding onto the door so that the zombies can't get inside. But this time, the situation gets worse because the zombie's tooth mark has settled in Dong's hand. Seeing that, it was clear that he was in deep trouble. On one hand, the boy is screaming like crazy and on the other hand, some people inside are laughing in secret so that the people outside don't have anything to do with it. Within a few moments, the glass door almost breaks. Then Kim runs to the manager and holds him tighter. Everyone starts closing the door. However, they didn't even think once that Taejun's hand was stuck in the door. And if it was a little too strong, his hand might have separated from his body. At that moment, an old man suddenly sees his son on the glass. Everything changes with him in a moment. He tries to escape and hold onto the door. And at that moment, the same conductor's hand holds his arm and leaves him so that he can go to help that woman. But the innocence didn't end then either. At that moment, a man comes and pushes the old woman with force. Even the conductor couldn't do anything. He was just helplessly watching everything. And this scene proves that only the zombies are not the only problem in this train. Afraid, the man also leaves the woman. His pregnant wife breaks down. It is understood that this time it is time for them to stay together. His only problem is that their children may not be able to see their father properly. At the moment the zombies enter inside, the conductor tells the woman that the woman and the child should be taken to Nirapad. Before the infection spreads to the whole body, he also corrects the name of his child. And at the same time, the glass door is completely broken and smashed. After that, the conductor stays still till the end of the film. He keeps only one zombie bag so that the rest get some time. But the number of zombies keeps increasing instead of decreasing. On the other hand, the people of Narapadpag are also not willing to open the door. On the contrary, the team manager tries his best to keep the door tightly closed. In this dangerous situation, the body starts to change. However, he keeps the zombies stuck inside. Even if the body gives up, the willpower still does not give up. Finally, when many zombies start to push forward, then the director understands, and if he delays, everyone will die. He quickly opens the door and pulls everyone inside one by one. But that desperate woman did not want to live anymore. After losing her sister, her heart is completely empty. So she does not run anymore. Instead, she takes her body and puts it on the zombie. Seeing her sister losing her sister like this, another sister cannot tolerate it. The director quickly closes the door. Then, after hitting her, he throws Kim into the ground with a loud bang. Her only question is, "Why did you do this?" But Kim is so lowly that she also starts blaming Seog. She shouts, "These people are infected." In this false accusation of Kim and the constant harassment, other castes also start doubting Seog. At that time, everyone's eyes turn to the director. However, Seog hears everything. Then, with his daughter and friends, he slowly goes to the next door. Everyone quickly closes the door to Kim's story and tightens it with clothes. They were afraid that the door was weak. So, many people hold it with their hands. The old woman was drowning in her own well. Now, she did not want the faces of these people. She felt that these people are more dangerous, so she suddenly gets up and starts the zombies. Kim gets scared seeing this. She shouts to the woman to stop her. She did not let her open the door. But, it was too late. The back door was filled with zombies at the right time. And, they had the door the safest for them. As soon as they came out of the train tunnel, smoke and fire, the virus had spread all over the city. Just then, news came that the driver had to take a break. He could understand that it was impossible to go any further with this train. So, he started another engine to reach Busan. After searching for some time, he finally found one. Then, he carefully took it out of the garage. He took everyone from the train and went where the driver had fixed it. At the same time, Kim and the conductor were planning, but what was about to happen revealed Kim's selfishness completely. He lied that everything was safe, then the conductor to open the door first. The conductor carefully went out to show him that Kim had thrown him among the zombies and ran away like a coward. But he forgot to close the door of the train and took out the driver's engine. But he came and saw a horrific scene where everyone would bleed to death. Suddenly, an uncontrollable train started towards Kim. Whole train was on. Within a few seconds, the train collided with the zombies and turned upside down. The accident was so horrific that everything went wrong. Just then, Kim and his girlfriend stuck the train. There was an empty compartment in front. He wanted to enter the compartment, but the door was closed. He started breaking the door with because the train coming towards him. Just then, Kim came out of the train and got up in the empty compartment. He for a second to save the train towards the zombies. Seeing this, he started running towards the train. Kim tried to save the Kim in the compartment close to the animal. He got up, came out of and the heavy metal box falls down from above. He tries to pull it down like crazy, but there was no time at all, because all the work on the train was going to be destroyed, and then the zombies would enter together. In this situation, the beggar, who had been afraid of everyone for so long, keeps his own life until the end. He stands in front of the zombies, so that Dong's wife and Swan get a few seconds to escape. The zombie can definitely throw the block in front of him, and quickly get the two of them out. But just then, everything collapses at the same time, and the brave beggar runs into the zombie crowd at the right time. He knows there is no way to escape, but at the last minute, he makes way for the others. This tag was silent, but very big. As the train turned upside down, countless zombies came running towards the zombie, but the problem was that Swan and Dong's pregnant wife were behind him. That means he is not running alone, he is running with two lives. Hundreds and hundreds of zombies were chasing him, and for a few moments, he thought he would not be able to escape this time. But suddenly, the two zombies collide with each other and fall. Then the zombies behind him start falling one after the other. As a result, a few seconds of confusion is created, and this small miracle opens the way for them to escape. The three die and escape in front of them. After a lot of trouble, they find a last resort, the train's engine. They can get up at any time, but the problem does not leave them behind. The zombies come running and collide with the train one by one. Gradually, a long chain of zombies is created behind the entire train. The number increases so much that it starts decreasing until the engine runs out. Siak understands very quickly, if it continues like this, everything is over. So he does not think for another moment and goes ahead. And he keeps hitting the zombies on their hands one after the other. At the same time, a zombie comes running fast and runs straight towards Siak. But at the last moment, Siak throws him down by hitting him. In that one moment, a few zombies in front of him collide with each other and push many of the trains behind them down. This reduces the pressure a little. Siak then gets a little relieved and goes towards the cabin. He thought there might be a conductor inside, but when he opened the door, he was shocked to see the train inside. And he closed the door again, because the zombies had killed Kim in it. But Kim did not completely turn into a zombie then. That's why he came out of the door with his own hands. Seeing him coming this way, Siak got scared. He could not understand whether he would save him or kill him. Kim kept trying to save Siak with his neck cut. But if Siak stopped him, Kim could understand. The transformation of his body began in this moment. Within a few seconds, he completely mutated and fell on top of Siak. Siak fell into a very serious condition. At the same time, Dong's wife tried to save him with all her strength. But in that attempt, she herself came towards the zombie. At this moment, Siak remembers the story of the sudden stabbing of Dong. He gets up quickly and tightens the zombie's mouth. But this is where the biggest mistake of his life happens. The zombie stabs him by chance. And it is at this moment that the most important person in our story understands that his time has come to an end. Siak knows very well what is going to happen now. So, before completely transforming into a zombie, he ties a chain around his waist. Then he aims at the soil next to the railway line, pulls the zombie down and tears it apart. Even if he solves one problem, now he is involved in another new problem. After realizing the transformation of his body, Siak turns towards Swan. And at the same time, he knows that all the sins in him are coming together. He can understand how much he has benefited so far. He always thinks only about himself. His own comforts, his own work, his own independence. But he never tries to understand his wife's feelings properly. Now he has only one solution left. To correct his mistake as soon as possible. So, he opens the fast chain, enters the cabin and tells his wife how to stop this train. Maybe this was the last necessary task for his daughter. Then he slowly goes to Swan. He speaks to her in a very calm voice. He says, "From now on, always stay with Auntie. Don't hurt Auntie at all." Hearing these words, Swan breaks down. She can't stop crying. He tells her again and again, "Don't go anywhere. Don't leave me. Stay with me." Hearing this, Siak's heart was breaking. But he knows that if he stays there for one more second, he will be in trouble for his daughter. So, he quickly takes a glass of water and goes out of the cabin. As soon as he comes out, he sees an old photo of Swan. The day of Swan's birth. Small hands, small face, and the innocent eyes staring at his father. Then, one by one, he remembers. Whatever it was, he didn't remember at that time. But at the last moment, those were the most precious things to him. While thinking about these memories, Siak gets a slight smile on his face. As if he is going to forget his own pain in this memory. Then, holding on to that last memory, he quickly leaves Swan's life. Dong's wife quietly takes Swan with her and goes to Busan. Even if the train reaches the city, it stops in front of the tunnel. There was a lot of rubble in front of them. The bodies were scattered. And there was no way to go back. So, helplessly, they started walking inside the dark tunnel. At the end of the tunnel, the soldiers were already there. Their job was to shoot all the zombies coming from inside the tunnel at the same time. So, they also aimed at the two unarmed soldiers coming out of the dark tunnel. The problem was that they couldn't be sure whether the people coming in front of them were humans or zombies. Just then, an order came from above, saying, "Don't delay and don't shoot the target." The soldiers kept their fingers on the trigger. It was a moment when everything seemed to be over. And just then, a song came from inside the tunnel. Everyone knows that zombies never sing songs. The song was Swan's song. The same song that she always wanted to hear from her father. But her father couldn't hear it anymore. Hearing the song, the two soldiers realized that they were humans. Then they arranged to take the unarmed soldiers inside. This is how the story ends. And to be honest, coming to this place can't be easy. Because it's not just a zombie story. It's a story of a father changing. It's a story of a man correcting his mistakes at the last moment. And it's a story of a little girl who loses everything and stays with him till the end. Those of you who have continued this video till the end, I would like to make a request to you. If you like the video, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you don't subscribe to the channel, you will miss such survival and unique movies. So if you don't want to miss it, click on the blue button. And see you in the next video.